Welcome in everyone to the Challenge After Show tonight. Pamela, Jenna, and I were talking about the Challenge All Stars Rivals. It's season 5 of this thing, episode 7, and it's called Old Friends, New Rivals.
Ooh, I get
Yeah, I do too. Uh,
it.
Pretty cut and paste there. Ladies, I'll go start with my overall thoughts. I'll keep it short and sweet. This is my least favorite episode of the season, right there. There you go. Least favorite.
Stop, really? Why? I thought it was pretty good.
I can't wait till you all try to convince me why this was good. Nothing happened. Multiple puzzles throughout the night. No thanks. All
Oh,
puzzles.
okay.
Everything was puzzles. It was the most boring daily and boring elimination I've ever seen in my not ever seen in my life, but close to it. Not great.
Yeah, I
That's
agree the elimination was not fitting for these two massively
yeah.
athletic, competitive teams that went into elimination. It would have been great if they could have finagled it to have been a physical elimination, but I will say husband couch take already. The
Mm.
segment's already here in our after show. The husband on
hmm
the couch take. He was like, "Yeah, but Fessy always gets his physical elimination, right? So you know what? He had his 3 hall brawls. He's been able to perform and show his strength in elimination before. So now you get a puzzle." But I
Well,
felt bad for Amber. I felt, her being collateral damage to that theory. That sucks. I felt bad for her all around this episode.
right. I mean, I'm happy with who went home though. Like I don't mind Fessy going home. So in that regard, yeah, I'm happy he didn't get another like hall brawl. But if they gave it like something even like last week where you're doing like a balancing act, that's a lot more interesting to watch than people they did. It was a puzzle. It was literally they put together a jigsaw puzzle. It was so boring. And then I can't wait till y'all try to defend this daily challenge because that was awful too. Oh my God. Clocks? Give me a break.
Oh,
Oh.
Pam, turn.
okay. So I loved it because so much happened and we got finally stuff being mixed up. Dan, how can you not? I'm so surprised that you didn't love it.
I
We
can't
got
wait. I can't wait to
major
defend it.
and major, a team on teams, fine or whatever, elimination at least. The daily, I will give you. I will give you. I didn't have I don't I'm not in it for the competition so much. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is so dumb. But I didn't particularly mind that it was so dumb because even when it's good, I hardly know what's going on. So this one was I didn't know what was going on and it was dumb, but I it didn't bother me ultimately. I forgot that like the competitions were dumb.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah.
I loved the drama and the
I'll give you
mix up.
this. No, the House vote was the best part of the night. It was finally not an Adam and Steve have to go in. Loved all that. But that's what? That's a 10-minute, not even clip of the entire night. So we'll get into the rest. I'm
No,
excited to
I
see what y'all
kind of
thought.
enjoyed, like, there was a lot of twists and turns to the house
Yeah.
politics, to the social games, friends kind of being shady to one another, questioning alliances. I felt like there was a lot of twists and turns that I was kind of following, like, okay, wait. And then they also keep throwing in the, like, who is the almighty they,
Right.
right?
That
And
was
it's funny
fun.
because well, it's interesting because it's like, I guess they did land on a they, right? We see at the end, like in Pretty Little Liars, a show I didn't even watch, but I just know culturally they're all trying to find a, right? So now on this episode, we're all trying to find they. So I guess they ends up revealing themselves at the end, but it's not even really who I thought was they anyway. Like,
It's funny you say that, Jenna, and I can just show you girls the paper, but in the vignettes at the beginning of the episode, I wrote down Veronica or Frank are they. Like I wrote down those two names, and I because to me they is the person that's causing all of the chaos when they get to the House vote on they have no idea who to vote for to go in because everyone's hearing all these different rumors. And I think it's Veronica and Frank that are mainly doing it. So that to me are the they. And it's kind of funny that Frank is the one at the end, but really he did say, well, Veronica's doing stuff, and I'm just gonna let it's both of them, I think. So I was
I
right
think
on, I
it's
felt.
I think it's multiple people are shaking up the house.
Well, who
Like,
else
yeah.
though? Who else is doing
Well,
it?
because we also saw Melissa last week say that she thought going for a strong team like Ashley and Daria would be a good idea. Like,
But
she's
who
confiding
she's
in
not the
Tori.
one. Me, it's like her
I
and
know,
Nicole
and
don't even know what they're
I'm not
doing.
So
saying
they.
I'm not saying she's the whole puppet master. I'm just saying there were multiple people in the house who all were kind of spreading these different theories, spreading these different options and rumors. But it really mainly was Veronica from what we saw last week.
Mhm.
And now we're seeing like once they have Frank reveal himself at the end, then we're seeing like the black and white clips of him being involved in everything.
Right.
So it's just kind of
Because
like
Kaiser's
I
so
understand, I guess they were trying to like keep the mystery going and not reveal the person, but we have seen a bunch of people kind of politically shake things up. So when I thought they, I was like, everyone's kind of somewhat they. Like, there's not
yeah.
one whole ringleader, but I guess it comes out that it's Frank at
No,
that.
well, Frank is the self-declared they. I thought the secret that was being kept last week was that it was definitely Veronica and Katie because the episode was narrated like we're gonna have to stir chaos now, which they declared that they were doing, but it was everybody was doing that, and the way it went down last week with Dario and Ashley being the house vote, I think really did come down to the first people saying that. I mean, everyone else, I don't think there was some major puppet master that really orchestrated it being Frank or Veronica.
Yeah,
Everybody's
and
gaming.
that's fine. I think it was them mostly because that's what they were showing us, and I have a great conspiracy coming up about Veronica because they were laying so much into her last week being kind of the person they purposely showed her going into every single room and trying to stir the pot because they wanted us to believe that she was they, and they obviously showed Frank before that, the beginning of the season, and even tonight they did a highlight reel of all the supposed great they stuff that he did to be they, and so those to me are the two. And but we'll get to the Veronica conspiracy later on after the daily. I've got a very interesting thought that I think that you two can maybe get
Okay.
on board with for this one.
Okay.
Can we take it to the here? I'll do more hints. Can we take it to the top of the episode?
Sure.
Please.
Okay, here's one of the first things the vignettes. I wasn't super impressed by any of these vignettes, and please, you can correct me if I'm wrong. None of them meant much. Like none of them were anything really. You have Ashley and Dario talking about who they is. Okay, okay, great. You have Amber B and Melissa talk about something that I don't even remember. Veronica and Frank, I just wrote, are they? That's what I just wrote down. But then Turbo talks about the strength of Adam and Steve. That never comes back. But that is Turbo saying Adam and Steve are super strong. Well, it had nothing to do with the episode, though. Okay, great. I agree. Adam and Steve are a
They
strong
are
team.
strong.
Great. Good job, Turbo. And then
Correct.
Dave Vaughn, here's the best part. Then Dave Vaughn, they show a clip of Dave Vaughn talking about her and Shane again being on different sides. It
Yeah.
never comes back again.
Did that came
Did
back?
it really, though? I mean,
It
like,
did. Because I forgot to mention Shane before when I was talking about how multiple people are involved in this. When I mentioned Melissa as being one of those voices, Shane is one of these
he is
voices.
one of the others. That's
Um,
correct.
We're
Yeah.
starting to see that in the last two episodes that he is also going around, posing theories, having people try to jump on like house votes. Like he's one of those people who was like kind of a they.
Right.
So he's one of those people that are involved. So I think it does come back to Shane. I mean, you didn't like Turbo staring out the window, daydreaming, just thinking about winning. I think it's
Um,
we got a little Turbo.
well, I
my
mean,
husband on the couch.
I'm glad we finally got more Turbo tonight. But another reason I didn't like the episode was because they showed us a huge clip at the beginning of the season of Nani and Turbo arguing, and obviously when they went into the elimination tonight, bless you twice,
Sorry.
Pamela, they still hadn't shown that clip. So I know there was no, I already knew in the elimination who was losing. Like that was another reason because they made that clip so
Oh.
they showed Nani saying, "No, Turbo, we're not doing this right now," like multiple times at the beginning of the season, and that has never happened yet. So that was not going to be an issue. I don't know, a lot of little things like that.
Mm.
Just kind of, I
You
was like, all
suffered
right.
from that. I did not realize that that clip had been shown in teasers. So luckily that did not
I'm glad it didn't get ruined for
spoil
you.
my elimination viewing experience.
I liked Shane.
Okay.
I liked Shane making fun of how Frank was freaking out. That was fun. So there you go. I like the house
Yeah.
vote, and I like Shane making fun of how pissed off Frank was getting. That was funny too. So there you go. There's
Well,
two things.
another overall thought I have is how crazy is it that just one episode of Adam and Steve not being the scapegoat is enough to shake up the house
Hmm.
and make them no longer the house vote. Like, I'm kind of surprised that people didn't go back to just voting for
We
them and
must have missed
their
something.
name.
They probably didn't show us some stuff because that makes sense for them to just go back to Adam and Steve. But no, I think maybe too many people get pissed off. But again, Frank is safe for another week. You girls were worried 2 episodes ago about Frank making that decision to send Leroy and Devin in. I mean, Frank is like he
It
almost got put
worked.
in tonight, but like he's
Yeah.
safe again. Like he's
Yeah,
doing
he's
it.
finding a
He's
way because he is good politically. And you
yeah.
know what? He actually is kind of playing a good facade of a game. Like when he came back in and he was upset about
Yeah.
being accused of being I kind of bought it as I was
Yeah, it was
watching
fun.
because I actually myself, I did not think Frank was they. So again, husband on the couch take. I turned to my husband. I was like, this is so crazy. Like everyone's pointing to Frank in this house vote saying he's they. It's like, I don't even think he's they. Like I didn't think he was personally. So when he was giving that performance, I totally bought in and believed him because I actually, through his history of being on the show, he has been known to be snaky. And so it's not that I think it was like beyond his gameplay. I just didn't think it was happening this season so far. I was like, this is so funny. They're calling him out for like being a snake, but I actually don't think he is on this season. But we ultimately see that he
I don't think he's ultimately why what happened to Ashley and Dario happened last week. I think that was more they showed it as if it was more like a Veronica was kind of trying to change up who was going where. But overall, if you take the whole season, Frank has done a ton of snake like things that if
yeah.
that is what they is doing, which is trying to stir up the pot in the house, then I do believe they're 1 and 2 right next to each other, him and Veronica.
Yeah, I
Personally.
think that's where the confusing part
Yeah.
comes in because they started last week. So I didn't think he
Yeah,
was
exactly.
the
That's
whole
why it
they
shouldn't
thing.
be Frank technically, right?
Like they
Like the
following
beautiful mind
history.
meme. I'm like,
Yeah,
but
exactly. Or
wait, I
Charlie
thought,
from
sorry, I thought Adam and Steve weren't an option tonight.
No, because
Oh,
no, they
that was
weren't.
last.
That was
that was
last week.
Oh, it is crazy that they just weren't because tonight at some point Frank tried to mention Adam and Steve, and I was like, enough of Adam and Steve. They're not even an option. It's like,
Oh, right.
geez, Frank, let it
See,
go.
Pam is her mind is still completely in the last
It
episode.
is. It
Right.
is.
No, the winner tonight was
It was
Veronica and Katie.
Veronica
yes.
and
I knew
Katie.
that.
Yes.
So the thing that I thought was so interesting about this episode was that most of the teams are united, but then we have the team on team divisions that
Mm,
make for those swing votes. Like Shane and Devon are on different
mm.
sides. And who's the other team that has people on?
Melissa and Nicole, really. And that's where
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Veronica did work tonight. Like she turned the house again for the second week in a row. The house was going one way, and she found her way to break in through the shield and turn the vote around.
Well,
So she,
Shane wins the Snake of the Night award, I thought, because so he is in an alliance, sort of. Shane is with Veronica, but
Right.
Devon
would
is
think more
not.
than sort of, because they were like best friends, they said, for 30 years.
Right.
Whatever.
But
30,
Shane
that's
was
way too
trying
many years.
to blindside Veronica with her biggest ally, Frank and Sam. He wanted to be the house vote. So he was running around
Well,
saying,
he doesn't like not being Veronica's number one, and I think Frank is starting to
right,
take that position away from him, and he doesn't like that. But if I'm Veronica, would I rather work with Frank or Shane? I mean, Frank is having a better season so far, so I don't see why she can't work with both,
also
but I think
Shane
she's
can't
leaning
be, at
Frank.
least you have to be loyal to someone. Again, I feel like
Yeah.
he
If
can
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that's not the way. Yeah, if I'm jealous of Jenna's husband, murdering him is not going to make Jenna love me the most. Like
Oh my,
that's a,
what? Why is that the example?
sorry. I was thinking of Game of Thrones, which I've been anyway. That's why I'm not going to murder her husband. Just saying, betraying the person
Thank
that
you
you
for the
want to
reassurance.
like you more or value you more is not the way to raise in their esteem.
Yeah.
Like betraying, which again, dramatic words, but Shane going around going, don't, Veronica doesn't need to know that I'm secretly plotting to make the house vote Frank and Sam
Hmm.
is
But
so
it does seem so
shitty.
petty too, because it's also like, how is that benefiting your chances? You know what I mean? Like Veronica and Katie's plan to take out two strong teams benefits them because,
100%.
they aren't looked at as a team that is necessarily strong enough to win these dailies, even though they did today, and strong enough to make it to the final. So what do they have to do? They have to knock out the teams in their way. They have to knock out the strong teams. So Shane should kind of, if he's working with Veronica, that's in his favor as well. So going after Frank, it seems
Right.
completely personal for him and just him.
Let me give you the reason why I think he did it then. Let me do the other side of it then. So I think Frank, and we can all agree on this hopefully, is politically better than Shane. And I think Shane sees that as the biggest threat. Not that he's like can run further or jump higher, or whatever the hell it is. I think he's more concerned about politically, like, okay, he's kind of getting into my alliance right now. Politically, he could turn Veronica against me and I could get screwed. So let me get rid of Frank now. I don't blame him on that side of it because then
True.
if Frank is gone, he's back to being Veronica's number one because they not because Shane's that great, but because
Veronica's winning every mission. Who gives a shit about
no,
me?
because they just go so far back and Veronica can politically carry
Get
that
it.
too. That's Shane's. I think Shane realizes he's not the best competitor. So politically, people have to go a certain way. They have to go politics more on
But
that
it's
side of
just
things.
not cool, is my like it's not cool to do to Veronica. I almost wanted her to send him it. I guess she wouldn't do that, but
Look,
when
Veronica is trying to give us the worst final in history, so I'm not sure I'm worried about Veronica going home. If we have Veronica and a bunch of Veronicas in the final,
Veronica, Sam, and
it's gonna
Frank.
suck. So I don't necessarily like I mean, I like that she took out two big teams because there's plenty of teams left, and I want as long as Adam and Steve get to the final, because if it's Adam and Steve versus Veronica, congrats, Adam and Steve, you just won the damn thing before it even started. But like, if
Well,
we have a
listen,
bunch of Veronicas with nothing else, it's gonna be an awful
I was
final.
loving Veronica's mob boss stance tonight. She's like, well, that's for
Guess
the
what?
winner
They're
to
going to
decide.
donate the winnings to charity because no one's going to finish the damn final. And they can't, you have to finish TJ's final to get the awards
MTV.
now. So no one's going to actually
But
finish it.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Dan. I see your point on if Shane sees Frank as a threat socially and politically and knows what he can do to like kind of finesse and get into the minds of the house and like shake things up politically. I understand him being a threat that way and saying, okay, I should take him out. But yeah, this is your number one friend and ally in the game. This is her week to have power and try to do what she wants with the landscape of the game.
Yep.
And you're not even going to tell her that you're changing it. Like, you totally just went behind her back and totally like betrayed what she was trying to do. So that feels like, what the hell are you doing to me? Like, my own best friend, you're now trying to take over how I'm trying to like move the pieces this week.
exactly. That's why I think it's so shitty. It's like, no, I get his motivation, but this is your best friend. Have a little bit of loyalty towards what she wants.
Let's be real, ladies. We don't know how much they've hung out in the last 20 years. They haven't been on the. I mean, Veronica's been on the show every once in a while. Shane hasn't
True.
been on the show. Are they really keeping in touch that much? Like, what is this best friend nonsense? We've seen it in other pasts where, like, it was Cara and who was it last season? Where
Laura?
Derek.
Derek. And
No,
Derek
no.
was Brandon.
Brandon,
And
thank
Brandon was like,
you.
I actually
Thank you,
haven't probably
Brandon.
spoken to you in 9 years.
Same,
Like,
I'm thinking the
Three.
same
Like,
concept applies here, ladies. All right.
yeah.
Anyways,
Maybe, but they both talked about each other as being so close and like it seemed mutual. It seemed reciprocated, whereas Brandon and Cara seemed maybe a little bit more like minded love or whatever.
all
if,
right.
Yeah.
if I had to
Hey.
go,
Oh, sorry.
no, I'm just saying, if I had to go back to camp, which I haven't been to since I was 17, then I'm like, well, Becky's my best friend, Natalie's my best friend. I mean, you're just reverting. Obviously, they're not your best friends in real life.
True.
But if I'm thrown back into like camp in my bunk, it's like you're going to your OG
Aw.
allies. I feel like so. I kind of understand them being like back in this situation. Branded, these are the people I feel close to, and that there's something there. As you get older, you're not going to see. We're not in high school. You don't see your best friends every day and talk to them every night. But you still have your OGs. But yes, the Brandon
You fall right back into it. That's
exactly
true.
fall back into
Good
it.
point. Yeah.
You had one more
Yeah,
thing you wanted to say, Jenna, before we get into the daily?
But I realize it's we're kind of all over the place anyway in the format of reviewing this episode. So it was later on. It's still about Shane, but we can talk about like the daily challenge and stuff first
Okay.
anyway. It's about the club scene and stuff.
Okay. Daily challenge is called Blow Your Mind. It did not blow my mind. I was bored out of my mind watching this. I noticed on the when they were all standing up there's only 8 teams left. So 16 people, but 8 teams left. I mean, obviously it's down to there's only 8 teams. So my point is with the voting, when we were talking about the House vote in a little bit, but like you don't really need to get that many teams on your side in theory to get the vote to come across to see who the loser is going to be. Really, you don't need to get that many more teams. The first thing we really see for this is we get a great. This is really the only time we'll talk about Adam and Steve tonight. So let's get to this.
Oh yes.
Adam tries to use the word, he makes up a word, complexivity. I don't know.
Complexity was what he's
Complexity is
trying to
most
say.
likely the word he's going for there. And that was when him and Steve's dynamic back and forth with their words,
Oh, good.
perfect. Everything they're saying is so funny. He's like, well, I don't even know how he said it, but even like um Adam's face when he says words, like he crunched up his mouth. He's like, well, maybe they'll bully you. I was like, this is great. Like they're a great comedy duo. Adam's got like more of that bubbly personality where he wants to give Steve a hug, and Steve just like accepts the hug, but he like kind of grins and bears it, or like, yeah, it's great. So
Yeah.
those two together, we didn't get
Steve
much
is
of them tonight, but that was fun.
Yeah, and Steve is like much more of a dry humor and like
Right.
kind of more serious about things. I love it. I loved it too because it's like they're not trying to be like funny or over the top. Like they're not
Exactly.
trying to give something extra in a confessional. You know, you could tell somebody's really trying to like act
Yeah,
it out. They're just being themselves and it's so funny.
it is. Yeah, it doesn't feel forced like some of these other like every once in a while when Bananas does one nowadays, where you were always saying, Jenna, how he
A
says like the most,
caricature.
what, say
Yeah.
it?
A caricature of himself.
Yeah, basically, and it's just such a ridiculous line he
Three
just said.
mangoes.
I'm like, do you even talk like that in real life, Banana? And Bananas, probably not.
Like the amount of like isms he has
Isms, right? Isms is
back
what you like to use for him,
pocket
right?
is like, okay, you prepped this list before you got here, buddy. Like
Yeah,
you always have that thing to say, that zinger. Anyway,
So, Jenna, you are
definitely.
the youngest out of the three of us. When you were in school, I assume, I'm sorry, Pamela, but it's just the damn
Are
truth.
you sure? What month were you born, Jenna?
Yeah.
I think we're so close.
You're just 1 month apart, you two.
Just
Yeah.
1 month apart.
Um,
Like three
did
weeks
were they
or
teaching
something.
you analog in school? I
okay,
assume
first
yes.
off, you guys look amazing. So I don't know why you're
Oh,
acting as if you are like that much older than me. That can't be possible. And yes, I not only was I taught analog, I had a TV in my classroom in elementary school that had an analog clock on it. So it was like a digital analog clock.
Digital analog.
It was
What?
a
whoa.
digital analog clock. Isn't that funny? But we were forced to have to force like is it like
You must learn this.
justifiably so, more like taught. I'm like forced. We were forced to have to look at this medieval styled uh contraption of a clock. No, so yes, I did learn analog. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I don't know how old Bessie
Not so
is, but
much.
I think he was serious. He doesn't know. I mean, to me, I don't even like as you get older, like if you're like in your 30s now or whatever, like can't you just look at a clock and kind of figure it out? You have to be taught
Yes.
analog. Like as a little kid, I get it, but
No, people still know what a clock is. Like you, Dan, you work with kids. I've worked with kids. They still know how to tell time on a round analog clock.
I
then
don't
why
Bessie
know.
aren't
just didn't
they?
know what analog meant. He didn't, he just didn't know what analog
No,
meant.
I'm pretty. I thought maybe I'm way off here. I thought he couldn't. Like he looked at it, he said, "I don't know what this means."
I
Too.
think he meant analog, not the clock or the
All
puzzle,
right.
because there was this
Maybe I
when
like.
it lost me, because then it
Yeah.
said like 18 plus 3 or something on the
Oh,
bottom,
that's
like
why.
something I was like,
Thank you for making my point, Pam. Why this was an awful challenge. It was all BS because Veronica and Katie apparently figured it out, and it wasn't even based on the analog part. It was based on something else. And I'm like, wait, we don't even know how this is. We don't even know how to play the game. It was the worst. Daily, I don't know how you girls can defend this one.
it was some sort of, no, I didn't like the daily. I'm just saying it didn't
Or
matter
sorry,
to me. Like,
Jenna. Well, how can Jenna defend it?
did you like it?
I didn't hate it is my
No.
defense. Is I truly didn't hate it. I just thought it was
All
like
right, explain to me
What
how to
was
play
it?
the
Yeah,
game.
tell
How
us
do
what
they
it
play?
was.
How do you win?
okay, so I thought part of, I guess, m me not hating it was the intrigue as to what the game is, right?
You
No,
liked the
truly,
mystery,
no,
the
truly, like
mystery
I'm
of the
trying
character.
to figure out the puzzle along with them. So, you know, they have to approach the canvas, we're gonna call it, and
Sure.
look at the clocks. And then you could tell that it started with Los Angeles at 2 a.m. And then each clock underneath it has like a plus or minus the amount of time. So I was like,
Right.
oh, obviously LA is the
Mhm.
starting clock. And then you just have to, what's the time difference of being in these other cities, right? So call it plus 3 hours, call it plus 9 hours. But I
Okay.
realized I
Wait,
have to have been wrong though, because it's
Yep.
like 3.5 hours.
Yes, that's the problem. Veronica and Katie
I was
figured out it
like,
had
Jenna
nothing to
got
do
it.
with like
Okay.
any of this. It was so
So
Right.
weird.
I
It
was
was
like
so weird.
9.11. You can't be 9.11 hours ahead of LA. So that was part of my intrigue of being like, okay, so how is this gonna be solved? Like now I need to know what this puzzle is because I
What
don't
you call
know.
intrigue I call frustration. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to place myself as being in that daily challenge because I don't find myself as being somebody that's like good at brain games, good at math. Like I'm not really like the brain first type of person. So when I saw this, I was like, all right, like, do I get this? Like I had a little bit of happiness where I was like, wait a second. Do
You
I
got
maybe,
way further than I did. In even
I'm like,
there, I
do
was
I?
like,
Yeah, I'm like, did I crack the case here? No, clearly not. But I do think that that is what it came down to, right? Like Veronica and Katie and Shane and Davon obviously were going off of that theory, and they were just trying to find the time difference from starting at LA between these other cities. So, and they were the teams that did the best. And it was
Here,
kind of interesting that it came down to like everybody just freaking out and scrambling after Dario and Ashley said check that they all just pressed their
yep,
buttons, even though none of them were
had it
even
right.
close to
The other
it.
confusing part was, to me, it looked like your partner would press the dynamite thing to go off for you. Like why couldn't you just press it when you were ready? What was the idea of like if my partner pressed it before I'm ready? Like it, and you weren't allowed to talk. So that was the idea. Like if you couldn't say, wait, long, I'm not ready yet, but you could have put your hand up like this and said, I'm not ready yet. And then when you put it down, they could have pressed the igniter to catch
Yeah.
it. This little things like that were so dumb because then they were allowed to talk to each other once they got together at the end, but apparently throughout they weren't. The best part of the whole thing was Fessy jumping through before the fire was done.
Yes,
That was
I
the
love
best
that
part. That
part.
was the best part.
I love that part because he was like, screw it. Like, why do I have to
Yeah.
sit here and wait so long? I'm gonna jump through this. I
Yeah,
I
until he
like that.
catches on
yo, I was
fire
like,
and then he's like, oh shit, I put too much product in my hair today. But yeah.
that my favorite part is Dario always thinking he's got it. That
Yeah.
like it's up front.
He's so smart. He's so
He's gonna
smart.
psych everybody out and win. It's like it doesn't matter if you are wrong, Dario. Like like you still have to be right. But he's always like, I know, I'll be first.
Yep. I mean,
Well, I mean, I guess he had some strategy to it, right? He did make everybody else
Listen,
finish
I have
when they
no leg
weren't
to
ready.
stand on, Jenna, because usually I like to try and play along too. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on.
no.
I don't know if it was the fault of that it wasn't explained because none of us still know what actually you had to do to solve it. I don't think they showed it clearly, but I had no idea what was going
Someone
on.
in the comments will be like, guys, it's so easy. And they'll explain it. And I'll be like, there's no way you didn't
What
watch it
Jenna
eight
just
times to
said
get that
made
information.
sense. Like, okay, it starts with that the clocks are moving. I didn't even get that far. I'm like, their
And of
clocks
course,
move
but
to
like,
minus
did
10
TJ
hours from
explain? All TJ said was, you're going to see clocks. And then at the end, you're going to solve a puzzle. And you can't talk to each other until the end. But like us as the viewer, we get no information on how to even participate in this to enjoy it. It's ridiculous.
But that was part of the fun for
no,
me.
it's
Like,
giving me agita.
going into an escape room, you're not told anything.
But
Go
I
to
wasn't in the escape room. I'm on the outside watching a screen. I can't touch anything. I can't even, like, you're going from person to person. I can't study what they're studying. It's completely different. Well, whatever.
I like
It's
your
over.
optimistic, positive spirit about it that you were like, I'm along for the ride, whatever. Yes, no, I wasn't even mad. I didn't even care. I just completely, like,
Did you
this
read
is
the comments last week,
serious.
Jenna, that someone wrote something really funny
uh
about how, like, when you get uncomfortable when Pam and I kind of make fun of people? Well, because you're always in a positive light. So my point is, even in this, when a daily sucked, Jenna's like, no, I liked it because I didn't get it. Like, so
Mysterious.
I yes, I did see that comment and I thought it was funny and I appreciated that.
that was funny.
Yes.
That person writes to us a lot. I should look up. I
Yeah, she
believe it's
does. I want to
yeah.
say, is it, I want to make sure I have her name correct
Yeah,
before,
she's great.
but I
She
think
writes
I
comments a
remember
lot.
her name. Yeah, no, it's great. I loved it. I appreciated the comment.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, also, I feel like I've definitely complained and been very negative about the show
Uh,
Yeah,
too.
Jenna's not that positive.
no, I know, but out of the three of us, she's above, like she's
Right. No,
leaps
we're a
and
little more
bounds.
cynical than, but it's funny because in life, I feel like I'm usually a positive person, but this is, we're made to be mad at these people on our TV. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I try to be positive, but
But
oh look, I just found a Cheerio on the ground for my daughter. She left a Cheerio
lucky
near
for
her.
you.
oh, and
Yum.
it's
I
Ebony
mean,
Flowers too, by the way, our commenter. Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you, Ebony. Um,
oh, Ebony, yes. Okay, can
so
I talk about my conspiracy?
yeah,
Okay. So, at the
Is it a
end,
conspiracy or is it a fact check?
No, I think this is a great conspiracy. Have
Okay.
we, question to start it then, have we seen a daily challenge where you definitively know this season that this person definitely won? Like there's no doubt we saw them win. We saw them go first through the line.
The
Have we?
first one, the first episode.
Correct. Besides that, they've been
Oh,
a
so it
bunch of
was a
these.
question. This was a pop quiz. It wasn't a conspiracy. I answered correct.
Okay, so now, okay, now to get to the conspiracy. At the end, obviously, everybody, like technically, Dario and Ashley finished first, but it's all based on how much of the puzzle
Well, they
you.
yelled check first. You had to
And,
be correct and fast.
but that's exactly why the conspiracy exists because who the hell is the first of all, the evidence of everything's been burned up back there anyways. And I guess you have like whatever you randomly put down on a board, but who's gonna be like, no, because you don't know what the answers really are. No one knows what the so they
We're
get.
never going to know. And I think they really take much more liberties with the All Stars, especially this
So here's my
season.
point. Veronica had a really good storyline coming off of last week, or is she not they? So why not have her? She may have won, she may have not, but why not give her and Katie the win? Because then they can carry the storyline wherever the hell they want. I really think producers think about this. Like, we can do whatever we want with the storyline. Well, we want Veronica and Katie to carry the storyline this week based on what happened last week to give us actually. So I do, in a way, I appreciate what the producers are trying to do, but also for the sake of who actually won. I'm sorry, but anybody could have won this damn thing, and they can give it to whoever the F they want, especially this week. That's my conspiracy. It's not a fact check.
I think I'm with you, Dan. I 100% think it is almost at the level of if I
Like,
was judging a relay race for a
like
third
what's going to be
time. It's
interesting
like,
this
yeah,
week?
let's call it Sammy and Timmy this
Yeah, like
time.
who's going to be interesting this week? Is are Melissa and Nicole going to do anything? Hell no. We're not going to. Even if they won, why are they going to be leading the charge? No
It
way.
was close. I don't think they're making up the winner or anything. But I think
Pamela,
if it,
why not?
I mean, because people would be furious, I think.
They'll
It's
never know,
fair.
Pamela. They'll never know.
Yeah, but I do think it is,
I think it's
sure,
a
I guess it could have manipulated the outcome. We talk about it a
very
lot.
right.
It's still a TV show, it's still a reality TV show for entertainment, but it seems very believable to me that Katie and Veronica would have won this
I
daily.
agree. I know.
Me too.
And that's why it's not obviously it's not a fact or anything, but I
It
do
came
think
down to
there's something to it.
grams, Dan, grams.
And,
That one was ridiculous
and
too.
It's like we had to weigh the
We
grams.
weighed we
Weigh
weighed the
grams.
liquid that was left after you guys puked some of it back up into the bottle, and then we
Yeah.
came up to this conclusion. What are we doing here? Who
Yeah,
won?
I
Who
think it's
didn't?
close, but I do think it's like, say this
yeah.
one. Like there, it's not as
At
scientific
least
as
TJ didn't say this was milliseconds
yeah.
of well,
And also, it's taken the fun out of it, you know, like unless it's slapping me in the face, feeling like this was obviously edited, produced, all of the things, you know, like when Tina's thing took
yeah.
all of her
Her
nails,
nails flew out.
she coughed, she went, poof, and all of her nails fell out. Meanwhile, Emily Schramm is like taking a hand, like
Yeah.
pulling with every equipment, you know, she can find and it's not coming out. Unless it's like punching me in the face, I'm just gonna take everything at face value and just take it for what it is and say, like, this is what happened, you know?
Yeah,
I get
I'm
it.
okay with that. These are, I feel like it's all a little goofier. And I like these past, it's funny, Dan, that you didn't like this episode because last episode and this episode, I thought were so fun because they had to mix it up. You didn't know what's
Yeah.
going
No, last
on.
week's I loved last week. Something was
I
off
love
about this
this was
episode
high
to me.
drama. We have to talk about Veronica. Like, this is you showed me your loyalty now.
Oh Jesus.
Mob bossing
See,
hard.
to me, that was absurdly
Oh, I loved
ridiculous
it.
that she did it. But whatever. I mean, I'm okay. If you want to talk about that next, I'm fine with that.
Think
Go ahead,
about it,
Pam.
Dan. Think about for real. What is it, like $300,000 or something?
Yeah,
Like,
they're getting a lot less than they
potentially
would
win.
on the
If you're
flagship.
Veronica and Katie and you've like real lives and families and homes, and you're not going to win on your strength, but you can get all your competition out with your mind, like do what she's scared the fuck out of Melissa. They made it work out that way. Melissa and Nicole would have picked Frank and Sam and gone in for a start. They would have if
I
Veronica
get
didn't
it. I get it. And if
that
Veronica's
arm.
really working that number one with Frank and Sam, then yes, she definitely got her way this week by the one vote or whatever it was. Um,
I'll say about her godfatherness, her mafia. I loved it, thought it was funny, entertaining. But the thing was, I actually was confused about if she was actually saying it directly to Nicole and Melissa, or if she was saying it in a way of like, when I see Shane, this is what I'm gonna say to him. Because I did not think Melissa and Nicole needed to be on the receiving end of that. Like to me, they didn't need to be the ones on trial for this whole,
And that's what
changing
that's
of
what
the
I'm
vote
saying.
because
So
it wasn't their idea. It wasn't their fault. They were presented with, "Hey, let's do this for the House vote. We won't, hi, my name is Shane, right? Let's say Frank and Sam, and I won't say your name, and you guys are off of the chopping block. We're all gonna
What
do Frank and
Veronica
Sam. You
promised them
win."
safety this week, right?
Yeah.
well,
Well, Shane offered it to Melissa and Nicole. So why are Melissa and Nicole being interrogated by Veronica? I did not think they needed to be on the receiving end of it.
And
So
that's why I thought it was a bit much, Pamela, to go back. Like you loved it. I was like, this is like, why are they even
I
doing this
have an
conversation?
answer though for Jenna about why. Because at
Oh,
this point, the number of teams, there's like 8 teams, and it was legitimately fully divided with Team Amber Fessy, Team Nani, and I don't know. The way they made it make
it
sense
was
is
very close.
exciting. It was very close, and it was because Veronica won. Melissa and Nicole told her that Shane's plan was to do this. They didn't even know. Veronica and Katie thought 100% it was going to be, I think, Bessie and Amber, and then they would pick not whatever the way it wound up working out. But Shane, this is back to the beginning of our conversation, tried to outmaneuver Veronica on her winning week. And he was like, we don't have to let her know until it's the House vote. So when they told her, they are the messengers, but they were also the only people that could definitively, that were like, we might do it. Shane told us we should do this, and the whole house is going to do it, and that didn't know what they were going to do yet, I think, and that were willing to go against her or potentially willing to go against her. And since they were the winner, it's like, if you don't want to be the house vote, you show your loyalty. Like, who are you loyal to, Shane or me? I mean, it worked at least
Yeah.
To
with the
take the other side of
editing.
that real quick, like Nicole is like so like terrified to go into an elimination. And I get it. If you had a star, maybe you should be because you don't want to lose a star and you don't want to go home when you already have one. They have to go in there at some point. The season's almost over. We're on episode 7, maybe 8, 9, 10, and we're done. You might as well go in there. Like, what are you worried about? If there's only strong teams left, like you're gonna have to go against them eventually, and they're only gonna be able to knock out so many. You're not gonna get your choice of Veronica and Katie to go against, and maybe you don't even beat them the way you guys are so disorganized on your team. To me, like Veronica was over like too much where she was yelling at her, but then also Nicole freaking out on Melissa, like I don't know, we can't go in. Well, you have to go in. It's
And
part of the
so
game now.
excited at Shane's plan at the weird empty club. That was I forgot. We're actually coming full circle to Shane and why he sucks, which I forgot. Shane was trying to undo Veronica's plan. Like, no wonder. I almost wish she threw him in as him and Devon. But again, I guess it's not taking out two strong teams, but it's like, no, I had a plan and you went behind my back and tried to get everyone on board with your other plan because you liked
Well,
your plan.
Yeah, and it also feels disrespectful to Veronica and Katie for being in power because every single week when the winning team is in power, everybody talks to them about game, tries to make their deals, tries to suss out who they're going to vote for. Nobody was even like batting their eye towards them at the club. And if I was Veronica and Katie, it's almost like, do people not take us seriously? Like,
Yeah, come
why
kiss my
is
ass.
no
I'm the winner and I can put you in, you asshole. No, I agree. Like, he
Yeah,
was
it's
hip
like,
to
what the
that.
hell is happening here that nobody's even talking to us about game? Like Shane just completely like went in there and made it more like he was in power that week, and everybody was like completely ignoring the actual power team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because if Shane did feel that Veronica was going to save him, he literally said, I think in this episode, like, I'm not worried about Veronica's not going to put me in, and she didn't. But, you know, I'm sorry, but like I know Katie and Veronica had power this week, but like in a final, if they ever somehow made it there, like I don't need to be talking game with Katie and Veronica. I
Yeah,
get they have the she's so good at
always.
social game. Okay, well we'll do 10 jumping jacks and we'll see who can finish the 10 jumping jacks, and then you can go home. Like
I
I'm
mean,
not
you
worried about
never know
Veronica. I'm just
though.
not.
What if
Huh?
it was Sam and Frank, Veronica and Katie, and Steve and Adam in the final?
I
and
mean,
like
go. It's.
Steve
I already
Adam
know the
broke their
winners.
legs or something, then you could win that much. That's what I'm saying. Listen, I would fight as hard as I could, as long as I could. I like she's doing everything she can, and and I I'm here for it. I love it. I think it was great and entertaining and awesome. So
Look, she's still in the game on episode 7, so
more
congrats.
than Amber and Fessy can say. I mean,
Right.
Yeah. So let's get into
Right.
the voting because I also loved the nominations. Well, I love like the atmosphere. I feel like blended right in with Amber just giving it to everybody. And I actually really liked that Amber was emotional and that she was speaking her piece, you know,
That
mhm,
'cause
was
a lot
fun.
of times, yeah, because a lot of times emotions can like, be become too much of an influence on how somebody plays the game where like they take things too personally. Like Corey, we've talked about Corey Lay this season and how he's always like anytime somebody even like whispers his name, he's like, "What did you say my name?" And it just feels like, okay, relax, like you're not entitled to making it to the final without your name ever being said. There was
mhm,
something about Amber just like having the platform, speaking her piece, calling people out that I just really liked for some reason.
mhm.
Like I felt like she truly felt lied to by people, felt blindsided, and I like that she just wanted to let people know.
Yes, I think I agree with you, and I really liked it too. I think Amber is very guileless, as she's admitted, like with the way her mind works, is she's not scheming and lying, thinking 2 steps ahead and planning and plotting. So she's like, I've got something to say. And I think she feels betrayed by people. And I liked it because it was sincere. And at this point, it's also like, go get a star. You guys don't have a star
Well,
yet.
that's what I appreciate.
So,
That's the best part of it was
yeah,
I
like
know
if anything,
she
you
already
need
knew
to
she
go
was
in
going
and
in. She was
take got a
already
good
she was
chance.
but at least she said, "Okay, now I'm going to go in and earn my star," instead of being and moaning about it like
Mm-hmm.
Corey would have. So I was really
Yeah.
happy that she at least accepted her fate and said, "Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm going to just give my all," and then didn't hear much about it after that, just like getting ready. Corey, he would still be complaining about it if. But yeah, anyways.
And if Veronica,
Luckily, he got voted in right at the elimination last week, so he didn't have to bitch and moan about it for like the whole rest of that day or wherever it is until the actual elimination. So,
who did
Yeah,
you
no, that's
guys?
exactly right because she called people out, but then also just ate it, took it,
Right.
and was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go do what I have to do. And
that's the best part, right,
Yeah,
I
for
and
was
she
me.
so
didn't.
rooting for her
No,
too.
she was great. She didn't make empty threats. She said like this sucks and this sucks and this sucks and we're gonna go in and get a star. Like she said, spoke her mind, but wasn't like,
Because also, like we've said, she is so sincere and she doesn't really do the whole like lying people, lying to people. And people did it to her. Like Veronica straight up went in and was like, this person said this about you, and then like walked out. And then she fully believed it.
well, I think tonight she was hurt by this is where it gets she was hurt by Ashley because Ashley and Dario voted for them. But at a
Yeah.
certain point, it's like, I love you, but we have to, you know what I mean? We have
Yeah,
Yeah.
to, you have to roll with the House or with the majority at a certain point. This is my question. Can teams vote differently or no? You have to
you have to vote together. Yeah,
have
As
to
a
vote together.
yeah.
yeah.
I can't. Yeah, I don't think you can. That's why someone say, I'm going with my partner this week." Maybe they didn't want to
Yeah.
vote for that way, but
Right.
they just did it.
I think it was more surprising maybe of Melissa and Nicole to vote Amber and Fessy, just because it did seem like Melissa really didn't want to vote for Amber. Like if it was up to her, she wouldn't have. And Nicole and Melissa have kind of been like switching each episode on who gets the power in the partnership that week, like who gets to control the vote. So this week it was for Nicole because she really thought it was smarter to work with Veronica and Katie. So for some reason, when Melissa said all I have to do was like talk before Nicole does, and she spoke first, so I thought she wasn't actually going to send her vote to Amber and Fessy, but she did.
Veronica put that fear into them of if it's not them, it's you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, they had
Did you ladies
they
notice
definitely
every
put him.
time they use the word they, you'd hear like an eagle screech in the background? That was fun. That was a fun little
That
add-on.
is funny.
They say they, and you just hear an eagle or some type of bird of prey just do a big old screech noise in the back. So that was fun. I had the
That's
That is
subtitles on, so
funny.
that's why I think I noticed it more.
Yeah, that was definitely then like subliminal to me because I didn't like, really
Yeah.
pick up
And
on it.
then um Who Can It Be Now? The song going off during the House
Yes.
vote.
So
Well, now,
good.
this is why the house vote was my favorite part of the night because they almost made like almost like in some type of like montage movie type vibe, and it was really fun.
Oh
Because
yeah.
who can it be now? That's a
Oh,
song too. That's a
I
great
had
song.
no idea that. So getting to the vote, so then they vote, and not to cut ahead, but after the house vote, which is Amber and Fessy, I had no idea who Katie and Veronica were going to pick at this point. Like things went so.
I knew they were. Veronica literally said beginning of last episode, which is why I think they had her win tonight. Because for last episode, her first line was, "We need to take out everybody that's stronger than us." And I said to myself, "So you need
That's
to take out
everybody.
everybody."
Right.
Right. So I knew they were going to go for a strong team. I thought Nani and Turbo were a great choice.
I
Um,
thought
Yeah.
Veronica was going to punish Shane for betraying
no
her.
way, nah, because she still got him wrapped around her finger. He just doesn't really know. I mean, whatever.
And we're going to
He's
have to
still
take,
Team
this
Veronica.
is where I'm going to take to social media after we're done doing this and do research and everything, because I want to hear what Veronica thinks looking back on this. Because even then, she might not have known the extent to which Shane was rallying for the House vote to be Frank and Sam. So I'd like to hear what she says to that. But I was sort of surprised that it was Nani, and I guess I don't know why, but I was ever so slightly
I
surprised.
mean, there's what other team they could have put in Adam and Steve again, which would have been such a.
Dario
Well,
But
and
they
Veronica, they're
they're
working
friends.
with Veronica, so
Yeah.
why would
They could have said
Veronica do it?
Ashley and Dario.
Dario.
Ashley and
Yeah, that's
Dario
what
were
I.
the
They could
only,
have done that again.
and they could have screwed Nicole and Melissa and said
Or they
Nicole.
could have done, as I coined it last week, they could have done two nons, and then we would have found out what the hell happens when two nons go down there.
When two garlic nuns go into the elimination.
Yeah. Non.
Nons. Non is
But
good. I
yeah,
like that bread.
I thought it was a great choice. I mean, they have nothing
Yes.
to lose, man. They gotta
Yes.
play the game. They gotta say anybody's name, and whoever loses is a win for them. Like I guess
Mhm.
they Turbo is very vengeful, so I guess that's the only downside by
Did you
saying
think
Nani
he
and
was hype
Turbo.
after he won, where he's like throwing his mic or whatever? Do you think he was just doing it for the cameras? Like, I'm like, dude, relax. Who
No,
cares?
I
I
had to rewind because then I was like, didn't they just win? What is wrong with him? Why is he
Because
so
he's mad he
bad?
even got put down there. But wouldn't you think he'd be
Right.
mad right away? Not like after he
And
won,
he
he should be
also
like,
just like doesn't know where to place his blame. There was only
yeah,
two people to blame for you being in there, Veronica and Katie, and it's F
everybody.
everybody. Like
I'm gonna
I hate
flip everybody off. I'm like,
I
okay,
hate
dude.
everybody. Yeah.
I had to rewind it several times because I have a grumpy husband, and he's like, "I'm just mad at. I don't like anybody." And I was like, "Oh, I would need that meme to just send to Luke." Like, I don't remember exactly what Turbo said, but it was great. It was like, "I don't like anybody." It
Not
was.
a host, CJ. Our lovely
Uh,
host, CJ. You're a
Our
real
little
fan if
CJ.
you know CJ.
He's not always grumpy, but he's when he's grumpy, he's a grumpy. He's not like Turbo, but
well,
we get
Husband on the couch take. He doesn't watch with you?
so he watched this and was like, "Who's that guy? I love that guy, Turbo." Like, yeah,
Yes,
that
that's
he was
great.
just like, "What's up with that guy?
That's
That's
great.
my guy."
Um,
It's like,
yeah. And I'll say, I was rooting for Amber. As much as I love Nani too, I felt like, oh, this would be great if Amber came back in. And honestly, we usually complain about Fessy, but he's been pretty chill this season. He's having a good showing for himself this season. Like,
I
he's just
don't hate
playing
him.
well. Yeah, he's just playing well. He's just kind of not
He's
really
not.
doing stupid stuff, not causing stupid arguments over stupid things.
I'm glad they reminded me why we hate him though, or why I hated him in the past seasons though. And you're right, Jenna. I forgot he's been a big whatever this season. I haven't disliked him at all, and I like Amber. But if it was like a hall brawl or something, I would have been like motherfucking Fessy. That's why
Yeah.
I'm so glad for your husband's couch take. Because I'm like, you're right. Every elimination, Fessy gets a hall brawl. And it's like, come on. So at
Yeah.
least this was anybody's game. I didn't
who were you
know.
rooting for, Pam?
I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
I had to think it out. I wound up Nani and Turbo, but it was.
I was rooting for Nani and Turbo, even though I already knew the outcome was going to be Nani and Turbo. But the main reason I was rooting for them was because I want to see that fight coming up that I know exists. So obviously, it's like weird, like, oh, they have to win because they're going to have a fight in the next episode or two. And second was any chance I get with Nani in a confessional saying that she's going to take that prize money back to her fiance and make babies and whatnot. They use it again tonight. They have plenty of time to edit this stuff out, and they
I
keep
don't think they
leaving
do.
it all.
You
Huh?
don't. You don't. After you deliver a show, it's
But no, I thought so. Wait, so they have. So I guess I'm way off on this. They can't after you deliver the show. They can't. They can go in and make edits. You know why they? I know they can because they took out a girl that existed on the show because of what she did off the show. So they can definitely make edits
That's
if they
true.
want.
It's probably a case by case basis if they feel strong enough about it, like to rally the troops to say, hey, go into this show that's already been like
All it wouldn't have
signed,
taken much
sealed,
to take out
delivered.
that one edit. Like, and here's the thing too is I am
But why do they
still
need to cut
wondering.
out that
Why would
Nani?
they? That's
Yeah, it's
it's
not
like
like controversial for her
at
to
the
have
time of
one.
shooting, I thought I'd spend the money on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know
I
what?
mean, it
Then
didn't.
maybe
Yeah.
we'll get her at least maybe we'll find out if she cheats or not then later on in the season. But then of course they won't
Someone,
show that though. They won't show us that because that could hurt their relationship even though they're already broken up. I'm just saying like all right, whatever. We don't know who
I
cheated on who. We still don't know.
I wanted Nani and Turbo to win. I think just because I wanted Amber to win. It was one of those where I was like, I wasn't super high stakes, and I
Did
loved that
you didn't remember that
Matt.
there was that fight though, Pam, or did you know that
I
fight
still
hadn't
have
happened?
no idea what you're talking about. I thought it was the fight
Okay.
where he was saying, I
No, there's
still
a
think,
Jenna,
I
you didn't
thought,
know either, right? You didn't see that clip?
No, I don't
Okay, it's
remember
only
seeing
me.
that in the trailers. Yeah.
The trailer the clip they showed at the end and the next on the challenge. I don't know if you girls watched it this week. They had shown that earlier in the season
Yeah.
already.
Okay. I remember seeing it at the ending piece at the end of the
fight,
episode.
you're
And I'm
saying.
looking and I'm
No, the
looking
fight that
forward.
we're gonna see probably next week, where she goes up to Turbo and says no, and she's like pointing at her, we're not doing that now. And she yells at him. We had already seen that earlier in the season. Like, but they not really. Like in a preview, they had shown it.
I don't know, but I liked that I felt like everybody was sort of like, either way, a strong team goes home. Like
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
the group tonight was like, not, it's not at this point, it's really not personal. Like some people were better friends with Amber, some were better friends with Nani, but it was like,
Well,
either
let me
way,
ask.
we're
This is a
getting.
great question, then, ladies. After, because I think we're all rooting for Adam and Steve still, like to win it. But after them, if they're not in the picture, who are you rooting for? Because, like I said tonight, I didn't care who went home either. Because I guess I'm rooting. I know I'm rooting for Adam and Steve already, and there can only be one winner. So, like, I'm like, all right, well, I guess Nani and Turbo.
Good
So that's why I was
question.
kind of rooting for them, just because I
Mhm.
think they're related. But Turbo's kind of I don't want a dingus. I don't even know what to call him. But I'm
A
like, I'm not
pussy
a fan.
chicken.
Like first, well, he's not a pussy chicken though. He's the opposite. The first season, I liked Turbo so much when he was working with Nani originally, but then he just became such a. Even this season, they're not showing any of his stuff because it's just like not even
I
usable
mean,
footage.
I like
Yeah.
him. I think he's definitely embraced a persona that's a little different. He's done other things and whatever. I like Turbo. I find Turbo amusing, blah, blah. I'm not rooting
I
for
want
him.
to find him amusing again. I wish they'd use more of his like ridiculous lines that he must be saying in this house. But yeah,
My
That he's
favorite.
just looking out the window pondering. But
pondering, a lot of
I'm
pondering.
excited for their argument next week because it
Me
looks like
too.
Nani like has suns him, and
Yeah.
he can't say shit. Like Nani is his handler this season.
And
So
I
Jenna,
like
are you
that.
rooting for anybody else besides Adam and Steve?
Veronica and Katie is mine.
Oh, that'd be fun though. Imagine if they won. Like I would. That'd
That's what
be
I'm saying. Like
insane.
they're doing so much, and I love it because
That'd be great.
I would
That
love
would
a
It's
final
just not going to happen,
also
but it'd be
where
great.
poor Steve and Adam, who've had such a rough go of it, have a final where with Steve, Adam, Veronica and Katie, and Sam and Frank. I just would love it unless they break their legs. It's like
I would
I'm
love
fine
Sam
with
and
that.
Frank to make the final because Frank is gonna have to blow up at her eventually, especially if they're that close to the money. There's no way he can keep himself contained. I mean, he freaked out tonight when he thought everyone was going against him, and I'm like, but Frank, I know you're thinking that nobody knows that you've been going behind people's backs, but you have. You literally said you're going to do as much drama as you can because it's your only choice because Sam sucks so much at this. So for you to put on this big act now that or even if the worst part would be if he's really is that mad and thinks, how can people be against me? Because if that's the truth, then dude, are you
No,
not
he's
getting
not.
it? You're doing this on purpose, but okay.
No, Frank had his literally Kaiser Sose where we get the like sixth sense and where we go back and it's like if you look at this, like he revealed all his secrets.
Right. They
Uh,
Yeah.
did show us.
Frank,
They showed us every nonsense that he did so far this season. Yeah. Trying to stir the
Yeah.
pot.
I like him.
It would be really
Jenna,
fun.
we're
Yeah, no,
still
I agree. I think it would be really fun if Veronica and Katie made the final. Frank and Sam do have a star, so it's more possible
hmm.
for them to make the final. Remember, Katie and Veronica still don't have a star, so they still have to find a way to get it. So that's
Good
like
luck.
that's a big challenge for them. But yeah, I mean, I want to see more of the season has to kind of unfold for me to really find like the full team that I'm rooting for because there's like individuals, like I'm rooting for Nani. Turbo is obviously
Yeah.
tougher to stomach. I was rooting for Amber, but she went home. So,
Yeah.
there's more like kind of maybe more individuals, but yeah, we'll see. I kind of want to see like what the rest of the teams do in terms of like who do I think,
You know
is
what I
like
think a lot of these
their
teams are
thing.
hoping for? I think a lot of these teams are hoping that two-star teams have to go against each other in an elimination again, so that way the next daily challenge can be a star daily challenge again. So win or lose, if they win, they get a star. If they lose, they still get to be in the game versus having to go into an elimination to get a star and then lose, then still just be out of the game completely. And I think that's what they're hoping for, which is maybe why Nicole is so against going in, even though there's like only 3 episodes left. But then again, it's so hard. We've only had one daily star challenge so far. So they're going to have to manipulate that to get two-star teams in there, first of all, just to have that star be even available for the next daily. I think it's going to be hard to do. But
Well, I
maybe that's
think
what they're hoping for.
if somebody tied to Veronica and Katie can win the next daily, then they're going to be in a good spot because getting Amber and Fessy out not only gets a really powerful
Hmm.
week winning team out, they are allies to Nani and Turbo, so they took out Amber and Fessy, but they also took out numbers for Nani and Turbo. So it's kind of like it feels like the house starts to sway is starting to sway more in like the Katie Veronica alliance. It's just they need to win.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. Katie and Veronica having that power. Maybe that's how Steven, Adam kind of got through on that because, like, well, if everyone's kind of going with what Katie and Veronica want, they don't want Adam and Steve to go in. They're definitely working with them, and that's
Yeah.
maybe how Adam they got 0 vote. Adam and Steve got 0 votes tonight. Um, Adam, I want to call him friend of the podcast. Adam, let us know in the comments, man. Like, what? No one voted for you
Commenter.
guys? Like, boom, are you guys clear? Like, let's. I mean, don't give
And
no
Adam,
spoilers,
don't
but
think we
like,
haven't forgotten. We're coming at you to talk sometime. We just want to wait until we don't want any accidental
oh,
spoilers.
Adam, we'll reach out to Adam for
Hit me
sure.
up.
Hopefully at the end of the season after they win, we'll have Adam on. But if not, then hopefully sooner if we'll
Well,
reach out for
hopefully
sure.
not
Yeah.
to. Well, whatever. But
We're not
this
going
is
to reach
the
out to
other
him
thing.
before they're gone though, because I want to be able to talk to him about all the
That's
spoilers that
why
he
we want
knows
to
of
wait.
so far for sure. Yeah.
We want to wait. Who do we think could win? I guess that's the other question. At this point, it's not like who do I
Yeah.
want to win, but who
No,
could win
you
other
know
than
what
Adam and Steve, who's like a strong Nani and Turbo, I guess.
but the thing is, like these daily challenges though are quirky
Equalizers.
enough
Actually, yeah.
that I keep saying like these powerful teams, these strong teams who are
Yeah.
winning weeklies. But meanwhile, Fessy and Amber actually haven't won a weekly since like what, the week one or two? So it's not even what I it wasn't even a true statement I said. It's
There
like
will be
Frank have
this
won two.
final.
Veronica and Katie have now won one. Steve and Adam have now won one. Like it's kind of actually now like becoming more dispersed in a way where basically it could be anybody's challenge to win any week. So like next week, who knows? Yeah.
They
This
should have
the
gone in
final.
tonight, frankly. They could have, I guess, excuse me,
True.
Veronica and Katie probably would have won a star tonight. Oh, did
True.
Fessy and Amber have, I can't keep track of
Bessie
who's
and Amber
had
did not
stars.
have one,
No,
but not
Fessy and Amber
in
didn't have a
Turbo
star.
did.
So if it
Right.
was
No,
two
Nani and
non,
Turbo protected theirs. Look, the final is going to have equalizers in it, just like every week, because of the age gaps and the male female teams. They have to try to keep it as equal as possible, and the female female teams too. I mean, like, so there's going to be equalizers, but at the end, the cream will rise to the top, and Katie and Veronica are not going to be able to keep up an entire final, even though it's equalizers, and be able to do it the whole way through. They have to. You
I'd
you
like
can't
to see
have
them
many
try
mistakes,
though.
huh?
It's okay. I'd like them to get
I'd
a
like
star.
them to make the final, and I'd like Frank and Sam to make it just because of the downfall that could happen. But I also need at least two strong teams in there. I don't want
Sure.
like Nicole and Melissa in there. I just don't need to see that in a
Well, I
final at
mean,
No,
all.
who's to say that the final is going to be like a triathlon,
I
you know?
agree.
right.
I
There
agree,
might be
Jenna. But at the same
puzzles,
time,
and puzzles and milkshakes.
there's going to be more than just one. Like Veronica and Katie, in theory, you can say they got lucky and they were good at this one thing tonight and they won the daily challenge. But every thing in the daily challenge is going to be a clock? No, there's going to be
Well,
things
you
that they're
have
not.
to be well-rounded, as we say. You
I
have to
know.
be able
So
to.
I
When
don't
it's
think that
one
they're going to be able to
thing,
do it.
But they're also not getting lucky. They're also finessing the social game. Like they're all they're doing the field work.
Yeah,
They're
well,
doing everything they can with what they've got. They are
unless there's
really
a giant
literally.
social game in the final, I don't think they're going to be, social game is going to have to fall off sometime.
Right.
The final,
At that
hey,
point, you're
Can
out
you
of choice.
go run 10 miles? Are they going to be, can you run the miles for me? That's my social game here.
Let's see how good their politics
Yeah.
really are. They have to do a campaign to see who
And, yeah,
is
have
going to
someone
take
else
their
run the
place.
final for them. Yeah, sure. You
Yeah.
take the money. No problem.
Well, at this point, it's just fun. I agree ultimately, Dan, with what you're saying. Obviously, it's like when, again, every season Denise is like, I just want to get to the final. I'm like, girl, why? Why do you want to get to the final? It's just going to be suck. I wouldn't want, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no, not trying to shade her. I understand that there's other skills. That's sort of what I'm trying to say. Forget my negative.
Yeah.
I'm positive.
Yes. You
Veronica
need
and
to have all
Haley
the
are
asset, all the
using
facets.
all of their assets. They are pulling out all the stops. They're bringing everything they can. They're playing all the cards that
Yeah.
you have to play the hand you're dealt, and they are doing a great job of that. That's
And
what
it's fun and it's a fun
it's
season
fun. Yeah, I'm
because
along for the ride.
and
Look,
because of all of these
this season
days
is
and
a
puppet
blessing.
masters.
This is a blessing we're having here with this season. It's great. Like I said, not my favorite episode. But there was a few things that I did like, and like I said, it's only a 45-minute episode after commercials. It flies by anyways. But I'm telling you right now, the eliminations have been so good this season, and that wasn't it tonight. What they
No,
did tonight was it was a filler elimination. It was crap. It
it
was
was a
not fun at
bummer
all
to
to watch.
see two strong, traditionally strong teams. It harkens me back to the Cara Maria versus Rachel, and they're throwing darts and balloons and
It didn't have to
whatever.
be a hall
Right?
brawl
It's
for
like,
Fessy, but it could have been something like obviously they're not going to repeat an elimination, but if they had to do that balancing one would have been hilarious because Fessy and Amber are so different in weight. It would have been so interesting to see them do something like that versus putting together a puzzle like you do at
yeah.
home when you're bored. Like, what are we doing here?
It's not
Okay.
fun to watch.
No, it was
And
not fun.
man, Bessie and Amber, like we knew it already, but seeing them there together standing are like NBA player and WNBA
Right.
player. Like they both are so tall and so athletic. It was like crazy to see them
Mhm.
standing on the elimination floor. But yeah, I agree. They basically just put together a puzzle that like you do on a snow day, when
Yeah.
you're stuck
Yeah.
home and it's like, okay, let's just do a puzzle. I did actually like the quarter scratching part, actually.
That at least added something to it, but at the same time, 2 seconds in or whatever, didn't who yelled over like they said, "Come over here!" Like I know, like I think Turbo yelled to Nani, like, "Come over here, Nani!" Like we don't need.
God.
That was just to tell what the puzzle was, and then they have to go
Right.
back and be like, no, you're just gonna keep trying. You're not gonna run back and forth. You don't need that
I
scratch
mean,
off once
maybe
you
you have to
know.
figure out who's.
You could have skipped the scratch off completely and just gone over to the puzzle and just started making, like, what I mean? It's a
Yeah, I guess
puzzle.
that's
It's a
true.
puzzle.
Yeah, I do like to see like, we're seeing some sense of Turbo on this season. Like they casted Turbo. We're not really actually seeing him make a splash at all. Even if we hate it, it's still entertainment, right? Like
Yeah.
but seeing that sense of urgency from him tonight, be like, "Nana, get over here." Like
Yeah.
it was funny to then see that like, spirit of him come out.
Yeah. And I am the person, Dan, that when I do a puzzle, I have to have like the puzzle picture box up in front. I literally
All
need
Me
right.
too.
to do.
Me
So
So
too.
you would have unscratched the whole thing and then somehow turned it around to face you.
if
So you
it's
could,
that, it,
to me, it had the word the
just say,
challenge at
if
the
you
top
know
of
it's a
it.
picture of a cat, sometimes it's hard if you're like, is the ear pointing? But sometimes it
No,
can
I
get
get it. No, I get it. And they wanted to see a quick visual of it. But having the word, like I think it said the challenge at the top of it,
words
once you
always
have those
help.
letters
Right.
and you can just build down, to me, it felt
Yes.
like it was
Words help. I
words
did.
definitely help. Yeah.
Guys, I'd like to brag here. I don't know if you know this about me, but there's
Oh,
this puzzle called Dogs Catching Treats. During COVID, me and my family got real into puzzles and we would like puzzle swap because once you do one, there's nothing to do with it. So we would like,
That's great.
you
I
don't
tried
frame
doing
it.
that.
You don't frame it and put it up in your house all done.
no, but there was this one that was, I think, like 8 or 9 different dogs catching treats. So it's fur. All your puzzle pieces are fur, close ups of fur. When I tell you this was like solving, it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
It was the hardest thing
Every
I've ever done.
If
I'd be
anybody's
like,
also
that
solved that
that
puzzle, let us know in
brown
the
fur is a different texture than that brown fur. Like you just have a piece. It was a 1,000 piece puzzle. So you just have a piece of brown fur. And it's like,
That's horrible.
oh,
That's
it was
actually
really, it's like I still think about it.
sounds like
If anybody's still listening,
horrific.
you can hashtag Puzzle Pam in the comment section, and we'll leave it at that.
I
I don't
mean,
think
my
I've ever
parents,
finished a
when they
puzzle.
got it, my dad studied engineering. When they got it, they were like, you didn't, there's no way you really did this. After, and they're puzzle people too. They were like, no one can.
Oh
I'm
my
like, no, I
God.
really did it. They're like, you couldn't do it alone. It took both of us together 2 weeks to like,
Hashtag Puzzle People Pam if you're still listening.
anyway, listen, I didn't want to intimidate you guys, but it's a hard.
It.
I actually am intimidated. I don't think
Me
I've ever
too.
finished. I've never finished a puzzle probably in my life. I take it out, I do 6 pieces, and then I leave it on the dining room table for like 8 weeks.
That's what
Like
you're supposed to do.
Nice.
literally
Do it
sit there for
slowly. Do it slowly.
sure, a piece a day.
Yeah, no, I would get obsessed. Like Luke would go to work. This was in the beginning of COVID when Luke was still working. So he'd go to work at like 3 and he'd come home at 11 and I would still be there. He's like, are you fucking still doing
Oh
this?
my God.
I was like, I gotta find the brown fur that matches this brown fur.
Yeah. And then I always blame it on like, well, puzzle pieces must have gotten out somehow. I have
Yeah.
to be missing pieces. That's the
I
only.
did have a cat
You have to
one.
be patient like Pam is when she does a puzzle. Oh, hashtag patient puzzle Pam, if you're still listening.
Exactly. All right, I'm excited
All
for the
right.
next episode.
Me too. I'm
All
excited.
right. Thank you all.
Thank you all. See y'all later.
Yeah.
Bye.